Thanks for joining us again. I'm Dakota Makris. Pulaski County is honoring the life of a fallen sheriff today, dedicating a local bridge in the name of Sheriff Sam Catron. Catron's family and friends gathered at the Shopville Stab Volunteer Fire Station in Pulaski County to celebrate the occasion, with Catron's brother, Lewis Catron, saying he is excited that Sam's memory will live on in this way.
He wanted to serve the people of Pulaski County to the best of his ability, and he gave his life doing it. It's a remarkable thing. Of course, we appreciate it.
The dedication ceremony being held at the Shopville Stab Volunteer Fire Department held some extra meaning to those gathering to honor his legacy since Isidore Catron was killed 20 years ago. The bridge is located on Kentucky Highway 80 just above the fire station. Today, President Joe Biden called for a 3-month suspension of the federal gas tax. Now, this would save Americans 18 cents on gas and 24 cents on diesel. Well, the president also called on the states to take steps removing their own gas tax. Well, Governor Andy Beshear already froze Kentucky's state gas tax earlier this month. Some say the temporary relief could lead to more pain down the road.
That money is used to fund road construction. And so certainly the quality of our roads here in Kentucky as well as nationwide is always a concern.
Biden's federal gas tax suspension still needs the approval of Congress.
Continuing to watch a cold front pushing into the mountains this afternoon and into this evening. It's not quite here yet, but it's causing some problems as you head up toward the Ohio River corridor between Louisville and Cincinnati. For us, we're just dealing with the heat out front of WYMT right now here in Hazard. Skies are blue, but you notice some of those fair weather clouds that we didn't have yesterday starting to bubble up this afternoon. Same thing as we head further south towards the southern end of Perry County and toward Buffalo Mountain. How about 95 a current temperature? It is hot outside. Mid-90s as we head. Hazard's at 95. Jacksboro, Middlesboro, Jonesville up at 95. It's 96 in Irvin. That's where the heat advisory is in effect. Essentially areas from Irvin to Beattyville to West Liberty and on to the north and west under that heat advisory until 8 o'clock tonight, because while they do have the hot temperatures, the dew points are higher as well, middle 70s versus the upper 50s and low 60s further south. That's also where the greatest risk for strong to severe storms will lie as we head into tonight. You see pinpoint Dopplers, a clean sweep throughout the mountains, but that's not the case as we head up toward Cincinnati and Louisville. Severe thunderstorm warnings in effect as those storms cross the Ohio River into the Commonwealth. We'll watch that. That's along a weak front pushing in as we head through the remainder of tonight. It's something we'll watch. Scattered showers and storms appear possible with the level 1 marginal risk for severe weather in effect for just about everybody, with a level 2 slight risk in place as we head up toward the I-64 corridor. So near 74 tonight. Showers and storms in the forecast, and some of those again could be briefly strong. I'll have the very latest on when those storms move out, when we could see more heat, and when we could see more storms. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Dakota?
All right, Evan, thank you. Well, for the first time, the Royals are visiting Rwanda. They'll take part in the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, which brings together the leaders of 54 countries to collaborate on a number of issues. Prince Charles and Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, took a moment to remember the past and honor the lives lost in the Rwandan genocide, also known as the genocide against the Tutsi. There are estimates up to 1 million people were killed in the 1994 slaughter, a planned campaign of mass murder that happened over the course of some 100 days. The couple visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial, the final resting place for more than 250,000 of those victims. A powerful earthquake struck a remote region of Afghanistan, killing at least 1,000 people, a toll that is expected to grow as more information trickles in from the local villages. Michael George is at the United Nations in New York, where officials say they're asking other countries in the region to help with the search and rescue effort.
Rescuers used their bare hands to dig through the rubble, searching for victims of the powerful earthquake that struck Afghanistan overnight. Homes made of stone and mud bricks crumbled into dusty piles of debris. At least 2,000 were destroyed, according to the United Nations, which says as many as 7 or 8 people live in every home.
We don't know if there are still people in those homes, so we're desperately trying to work with local partners to get through that rubble and see if there are any survivors.
The epicenter was in a mountainous region southeast of the capital, Kabul, near the Pakistani border. It was the deadliest quake in 2 decades, hitting as Afghanistan is already deep in crisis, with millions facing hunger and poverty.
It will only add to the immense humanitarian needs in Afghanistan, and it really has to be all hands on deck.
The UN says it shipped about 10 tons of medical supplies and deployed 20 medical teams, but they don't currently have search and rescue capabilities in the region. Relief workers arrived by helicopter, but many international agencies have left Afghanistan since the Taliban takeover, leading the UN to request help from other nearby countries. The Afghan Red Crescent set out food and medical aid, but time is of the essence. Since many residents were sleeping when the quake hit, an untold number could be under the rubble, in desperate need of help. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The White House says President Joe Biden has directed federal government partners to assess response options to help those affected by the quake. Well, back here in the U.S., a new report found errors made by the U.S. Forest Service contributed to the largest wildfire in New Mexico. The Herman's Peak fire erupted in April and has burned more than 341,000 acres so far. The report shows several factors, including a government shutdown and the COVID-19 pandemic, contributed to a years-long backlog at the Forest Service. That led to a sense of urgency to catch up. Though officials followed standards and policy, they underestimated potential fire behavior, changes in fuel conditions, and started during the warmer and drier end of the year. Significant flooding of the Yellowstone River forces 9 people from their homes after floodwaters swept away a house containing 5 apartment units owned by the National Park Service. New video shows the Yellowstone waters rushing right past the house just hours before it was swept away, with most people losing most of their belongings inside. Now, thankfully, nobody was injured in the incident, and new housing arrangements are underway for those affected by the loss. Jill, vape pens may soon be pulled from stores here in the U.S. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that the FDA could order the e-cigarette maker to pull its products from store shelves. Well, the agency has not formally announced a move just yet, but according to the Journal, the order could come as soon as Wednesday. Juul gained notoriety after it was criticized for selling flavored vape pods that were popular with teens. The company ended sales of its flavored products in 2019, shortly before the FDA banned the products. An advocacy group reports a sharp increase in discrimination against LGBTQ+ Americans in the last 2 years. GLAAD released its Accelerating Acceptance study Wednesday. Well, the group says 70% of the LGBTQ communities experience discrimination in their daily lives. This included with their family and their workplace, or at least their children's schools, in public places, and on social media. More than half of transgender and non-binary people said they felt unsafe even walking in their own neighborhoods. The report says LGBTQ people of color were also more likely to experience discrimination based on their race or ethnicity. Tesla CEO Elon Musk says the company is moving ahead with plans to lay off about 10% of its salaried staff, but he also expects Tesla's overall workforce to be larger in a year than it is now. In a video Tuesday, he said the company grew a little too fast in some areas, so the layoffs are needed. But he said in a year from now, he expects their headcount to be higher than it is now for both salaried and hourly workers. Well, coming up here on Mountain News First at 4, the cost of living has millions pinching pennies. We'll take you to one of the biggest yard sales around.
And we've got more hot weather and even some storms on the way as we head later into tonight. The very latest details next.